Hi everyone, welcome back to the C programming series. In today's video, we will solve some very important array problems. So, in the last video, we have learned arrays, but knowing concepts is not enough. Real learning starts when you solve problems. So, today we are going to solve important array questions in C step by step. First question is take input of 5 elements and then print them. So, how you will solve this question? Very easy. All of you are very familiar with the code right now. So first what I will do, I hope you have solved this one. So in this question, we have to declare an array and we will have to take input for that particular array and then we want to print that array. So what we will do, the question states that we will have to take 5 elements as input. Very clear. So I will declare a variable which will be initialized with 5. Then after I will create an array of size n and this n is equals to 5. So an array of size 5 will be created. After execution of this line, an array of size 5 will be created, but the index number will be from 0 to 4. If you remember, array supports indexing and indexing number always starts from 0. So if the size of array is 5, see the size of this array is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Size of array is 5 but indexing starts from 0. That's why its last index will be n minus 1. So its index is from 0 to n minus 1. And then after what we are doing, we are using a loop and we are taking input of the array. We have discussed in the last video that how we can take input of the array. For example, in this case, I want to scanf for a particular element. I want to use scanf for a particular block and I want to keep executing this scanf multiple times. That's why I am using a loop. I hope I have discussed this already in the last video. So if you have not watched it yet, please check it out. And then after this line of code will take input from the user and then after I am printing it on the console. So printf for printing an array, again what I will do, I will run a loop. If you remember, we have discussed this in very detail in the last video, how to take input for a particular array, how to print the contents of array on the console. So what this line of code, if you will do the dry run, what this line of code will do, see, first execution starts from main function, so your compilation as well as execution will start from this particular line. So int n equals to 5, so there a variable with value 5 will be created. Then after you are creating an array of size n, so size n is 5, so 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4 a array has been created. Right now it has not been assigned any value, so garbage value will be stored in this one. Garbage value or 0 will be stored by default. Now what you are doing, you are running a loop to take input in this array. So what you are doing, see, ampersand array of I means array of I will represent a single block and you are using the address of this particular block and you are taking input using scanf. And your I is running from 0 to less than n. Why? Because n is 5, so your last index will be less than n, that is 4 only. So we are using a scanf with loops to take the input. So let's suppose user enters 10 20 30 40 and 50, and then after what we are doing, we are again running a loop to print it on the console. Now this is your array, these are your index numbers and you want to print it on the console. So what you will do, you will run a loop from 0 to less than n. For example, n is 5, so you will print only till 4. Why? Because index number is always less than the size. So we are printing every element. See, after %d there is a space. That's why every element will be printed with a space. 10, then after 20, then after 30, then after 40, and then after 50. If I will dry run this code, see how this one will be executed. So first, see this one, I will be initialized to 0, then condition will be checked, 0 is less than 5, n is 5, and then after what will happen, we will print it on the console. Let's suppose this is your console window. Let's suppose this is your console window. So what will be printed first? Array of 0 will be printed. First array of 0 will be printed, and array of 0 is 10, so 10 will be printed on the console. Then I plus plus I will become 1. Now 1 less than 5, it is also true, so array of 1 will be printed, that is 20. Then after, this will be incremented to 2, 2 less than 5. Again, this is correct, this is correct. So what will happen? Array of 2 will be printed. Array of 2 is 30, so 30 will be printed. Then this will increment to 3, 3 less than 5. This is also correct, so array of 3 will be printed. Array of 3 is 40. Then after 4, 4 less than 5. This is also correct, so array of 4 will be printed. This one, array of 4 is 50. And then after, this will become 5. Now 5 less than 5 is false, so our loop will break and you will come out. After this, you will execute return 0, means this function has been completed. So this was the solution of the very first question. Let's move to the next question. Next question is find the sum of the array. In this question, the user will receive an array, and what you will do, you will calculate the sum of the array. What you will do, you will calculate the sum of the array. So let's see the intuition first, how we can solve this one. So see, you will have an array. You will have an array. Let's suppose this is your array. And what you want to do, you want to find out the sum. So if you will, first you will create a sum variable and you will initialize it with 0. Why initializing with 0 is mandatory? Because if you will not initialize with 0, then it will store a garbage value. Depends on compiler to compiler. Some compiler will use 0 as garbage value, some compiler will use a different number as a garbage value. So in that case, you will have issues on different compilers. That's why always initialize it with 0 whenever you are finding out sum. So you will initialize with this with 0. Now what you will do, just think about it, how you can find out the sum. So if I will take out first element and I will add that into the sum, then what will become? My sum will become 10. Now I will take out the second element and I will add that into the sum. So my sum will become 20 plus 10. Ye plus 20, 20 plus 10 will become 30. Then after I will take out the third element and I will add plus 30. So 30 plus 30 will become 60. And then after I will take out the fourth element, and fourth element is at index number 3. So plus 40, 60 plus 40 is 100. And then after in the next I will take out the last element, that is 50. So 150 will become 150. So this is my answer. This is what I want to do. So intuition of this particular problem is that first what you will do, you will initialize a sum variable, and then after what you will do, you will start adding the array elements into the sum variable. So first I will fetch the array element, and then after I will add that into the sum. Then next element, add that into sum. Then next element, add that into the sum. So in this way, what you are doing, you are completely traversing the array. You are completely traversing the array. Array traversal means you are going to each element of the array. You are trying to access each element of the array. That is traversal. So for traversals, what we use loops. Means if we want to find out the each element of the array. For example, in the last question, B printed each element of the array on the console. So what we did, we traversed the entire array. How we traverse? With the help of loops. So we can use a loop and we can traverse the entire array, and then after we can calculate the sum. So it is going to be very easy for you all. First what you will do, so this is our IDE. What I will do, first this is our IDE. First include the header file, and then after int main. First what you will do, you will take the size input, then after I will declare the array, then after I will take array input, Now this is size of array, and this is array declaration and input. This is array declaration and input. And then after, what I want to find out the sum. So I will create a sum variable, and then after I will run a loop to traverse the each element of the array. And then after, what I will do, I will add every element into the sum. So how you can find out the current element? So int current is equals to array of I. So if array of I is 0, array of I is 0, it will be current element. First your current element will be array of 0, then in next iteration your current element will be array of 1, then in next iteration your current element will be array of 2, and then after you can add that into the sum variable. One way to do it is like this, and then after you can print it on the console. Printf the sum is %d. See, in this way you can solve this one. Let's try to run this particular code. So let's enter the size. Let's enter the array elements 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 and hit enter. The sum is 150. We are getting the sum. I hope this is clear to you. Now if you want to solve this using functions, if you want to write this logic using functions, then what you will do, you will do a function call. What you will do, you will do a function call. So how we will do a function call? So let's quickly see this one. I want to do this using functions. I want to solve this using functions. So what I will do, I will do a function call over here. I will do a function call, and what that function will do, that function will calculate the sum and it will return the sum. So it will return something, and if it is returning something, so you will have to store it. So let's store it in an answer variable, and I am doing a function call sum of array. And then after, what I will pass the array and I will pass the size. This is how you pass an array and size. And then after printf, what I can print, the sum of array is %d/n, sum, answer. And then after, what I will do, this is end of the main function, so I will have to create a function over here. So I will create sum of arrays. And then after, this is my sum logic, and at the end I will return the sum. So this is how we can solve this one with the help of function. Let's try to run this one. Enter the array 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Hit enter. The sum of array is 150. In this case, what you did, you called a function and you passed an array. This is how you pass an array. You pass an array with the help of array name, and then after, I am passing the size for my convenience, so that I can directly access the size in this particular function. Otherwise, I will have to find out the size. What this function will do, this function will calculate the sum and it will return the sum. And this function call is returning something, so you are storing this inside this particular variable. And then after, I am printing this answer variable. And here is my complete sum function. What I did, I have used the same logic, and I hope this is clear to everyone. That's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the very next video. Bye bye. Take care.